Do you get a lot of cold emails in your inbox?
All the time, Zara.
Me too, but I don't read most of them or they don't really speak to me.
If only they were personalized, though. I think that's what really helps me want to open them.
I know, right? Like everyone knows cold email should be personalized, but in reality, it's so hard to do because it takes a lot of research and effort to personalize.
I think that sounds like a job for AI.
Yeah, I think so too. So I actually met someone who managed to make it work with AI. Michel is the CEO of a company called ColdIQ. They specialize in helping companies improve the efficiency of their sales cold outreach. And he showed me how he uses a tool called Clay to automate all of that. So let's take a look.
Let's dive in.
So I'm Michel. I'm the founder and CEO of ColdIQ. Essentially what ColdIQ is a sales prospecting agency where we help clients get some meetings with their ideal prospects. And the way we do this is that we leverage a lot of tech and a lot of AI software to be more efficient at what we do.
What are some things that before you use AI tools used to take you a lot of time and you found really repetitive and inefficient?
Personalizing the emails. So back in the days, I used to have a team of 5 people overseas, and I was asking them to go on each website, so each of the prospects' website we were going to be reaching out to, and to look at something they were selling. So let's say I was selling to e-commerce companies. I would tell them just find one name of product, and so they were going after like thousands of websites and putting the name of the product. And then the first line of my email would be, hey, I just checked your website, I love this, and then there would be the name of the product, for example. So this is pretty repetitive, and you had to have a team of a lot of people, and sometimes they would mess up in the actual data entry. But now with AI, we've got some tools like Clay. And so what Clay has, they have this feature that's called the Clay agent that lets you, and that browses websites and that will find this information for you.
How cool. Could you show us what that workflow looks like?
So, in our example, I was describing if we had a list of e-commerce companies and going after like a product that they would have. And so usually the way this works is the only input you need is a list of websites. So if I'm going and I'm putting some big brand, I'm putting Nike, Adidas, I can click on add enrichment. And here I need to look for a feature that's called the Clay agent. So if I type AI, or if I have like some suggestions, it's the Clay agent who's the AI web scraper. And here I'm going to give it the instruction. And so it's as simple as telling him visit the website, in this case it's the company domain, and output the name of one product they sell. And I will tell it, only give me the name of the product, don't give me anything else. And then here I can even give it some example in the way the responses should look like. So, could say like Air Max 720, so it knows. And here I need to choose the model. So if you use GPT 3.5, the result will not be as good, but it's way less pricey. The quality of GPT-4 will be the best. And then you can even set a max cost, but I won't do it. And so here I can run those rows.
And are you able to predict the cost of running each query before you run it?
Actually, I am. It actually tells you how much it costed to run every enrichment. So I'm just going to input the result in a new column so we can have a look at it. But yeah, essentially, I see this store called Vasier.com. They give us the name of a bracelet, square chain bracelet. You can actually have a look at the store and see if we find a bracelet. So we see one bracelet here. And so essentially this kind of research, you can actually ask it to find anything. So here we're looking at the name of a product, but you could be asking if the company is running some sustainability initiative, if the company acquired a new brand, like what kind of news, what happened recently. It really works like an AI, like an assistant. You would just go and visit the website each by each. And if you look at the process itself, it tells you how it did. So here you have the steps that it took. If you go on step taken, it says, first I searched Google for Vasier.com. I found those results. And then I visited this page. And on the page, I found square chain bracelets. And so this is why we got as an output the square chain bracelet. And once it's done, it actually gives you the confidence score. So how sure it is about the result. So here you see like it's saying, I'm 100% sure this is right. So you can trust me on this one. Gives you how much time it took. It took it 30 seconds as I see. And here you have the cost. So 0.09 cents. I could have said the maximum I'm willing to pay for this enrichment is 1 cent, for example. And so I would have made sure that I wouldn't pay too much money.
Fantastic, because this way you also have cost predictability.
So your typical enrichment use cases would be like pulling product names, pulling company news. What else would you be using Clay to enrich the data for?
What we like to ask them is we say, imagine you had 15 minutes to search your prospects and to write the perfect message to them. What would you look for? And then what we try to do is we try to do the same search, but with AI. And so some examples that our clients ask is they want to know how big a team within a company is. So, like if they are selling something marketing related, they will be asking about the size of the marketing team. And then they want to know if the company is hiring, if there is like a new VP of marketing that just joined the company. They want to see if there are some initiatives based on the launch of some new products.
That's awesome. So before Clay, you would probably take 15 minutes to research each client, and that's a lot of Googling, digging on the internet for information. With AI, it just takes seconds.
Exactly. This is the thing is, before we had to use 5 to 6 different tools to plug the data together. So, for example, something I would do is maybe I could find some custom database. If I wanted to target marketing agencies, I needed to find an agency marketplace. And you just have a scraping tool that goes like one by one on all those pages. But now with Clay, let's say I have a list of 1,000 companies. I can just ask Clay to go over all the list and tell me if yes or no they are a marketing agency. And then I will just be reaching out to the ones that are targeting agencies. And so it saves so much time in so many ways, and the only limit is really your imagination.
So once you've enriched the data, what do you do next?
What we do is we like to do some personalization. Here, for example, like the same way I prompted AI to search something on websites, here I'm prompting the AI to give me a strength that the company has. So once again, I'm saying, using the company website, tell me one thing that the company likely does very well for their customers. Format your answer as an action. For example, if the company is good at building sandcastle, say building sandcastle, don't include any quotation marks and keep it under 7 words and at least 3 words, and blah, blah, blah. Like this is the basic prompting. So like this company is like leveraging deep data, optimizing online giving. So all of this data, what I'll do with it is that I'll send it to my sales engagement platform. So here, for example, you can see that I'm using a tool that's called Smartlead. It's also an AI-powered tool. And so, for example, you can create a sequence inside of Smartlead. So if you look at the email, you see, hi, hello, first name, seems that you were doing that. And here you can see I have my variables, just in case you want more companies to know about how you are, company strength, at company name. And so the idea here is that each of these snippets will be different for each of my prospects. So for example, here, in case you'd want more companies to know about how you are ensuring machine safety at 4Robotics, then in this case, how you're accelerating sales development at Insight Scale.
So are Smartlead and Clay connected to each other? Like you can just query the data in the Clay sheet in the Smartlead email?
Yeah, exactly. So here, as you can see, if I click on Add Enrichment, I can look for smart leads. So they have a lot of integration, and then I can click, adding a lead to a campaign, and I just have to connect my API key.
Could you talk a little bit about the results you've seen so far? Like, have these AI personalized emails gotten higher open rates or engagement rates?
Yeah, it has a massive impact. When we started doing this AI personalization, we were seeing 3 to 4 times the replies. And there are a few reasons why you get more opens. The first one is because you're personalizing each message, there is no message that looks the exact same to the previous one. In terms of reply rates, it's just way more also. Just because of the fact that every person that ends up being interested is way easier to close, in the sense that we managed to find something that was relevant about their company and the person. On average, salespeople need to send or to contact 325 people to get one person responding positively, and we need to do 3 times less to get one person responding positively.
I think AI allows you to not just be more efficient, but also be a lot more thoughtful and granular in every step of your approach. I guess like before you had these AI tools, everyone knows that personalization is the way to go, but it's just way too much effort to make that happen. So people just resort to what's the easiest way. Whereas now once you're able to increase your productivity, now you can actually afford to use a more thoughtful approach.
So I think that the way you need to use personalization is you need to find something, but like this information that you're looking for should have an impact on the rest of the pitch. It's saying, I saw that this thing happened, and because this happened, it makes me think you could use some help with this other thing.
And that's the piece that you actually can't automate with AI. Kind of what are the fields within the Clayagent that you want to find, right? Because Clayagent itself isn't going to just suggest something really creative. You have to be the one as the human to define that.
Exactly. And I think this is the most important piece, actually. And to your point, we cannot automate it with AI. And so we still need to have some humans, at the helm of all of this.
So what approach did you guys take to choosing your AI tools, finding them, trying them out, making sure it delivers value?
And I think that we see two approaches. You see, people look at AI tools and they think, oh, I could do this. And then you got people who just map manually what they want to do. And then they say, okay, like, is there a tool that lets me improve this? And I find this to be the proper way to do things. Like, you shouldn't try to implement AI just for the sake of implementing AI. You should just map your process, find out where you have some gaps where you could have tech help you. And then if it's an AI solution that will help you, then amazing. If it's not, then just don't force it. It's all right. Not everything needs to be AI.
I feel like sometimes instead of having the AI work for us, we're working for the AI. Like we're bending backwards to make AI work, but that's not worth it. At the end of the day, the technology has to serve your use case, not the other way around.